All right, everybody, it's BC Hunter along with the Nightmare Jay Myers bringing to you our long and waited, long anticipated WWE Clash of the Castle review. And boy, oh boy, have we got a show to talk about. This was, in my opinion, a very good effort by the WWE. And what about yourself, Jay? How did you feel about this?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I was pretty jazzed up going into it to check it out, given the momentum that the Raw and SmackDown have been can kind of consistently proving to be an entertaining show. It's funny, I've said this so many times over the last few weeks, but long can I remember the last time I was paying attention and tuning in vehemently watching live for Raw and SmackDown, and I've been doing that the last month and a half. So I think that tells us everything we need to know right there. So yeah, I was super pumped for it, super excited, and I think it delivered.
I agree. It feels like must watch TV once again.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, say what you will, whether that's the whole regime change or what have you, there has been significant, palpable change. Whether that's just from Triple H taking over or not, there has been change, and it's really kind of cool to see and feel. And you can almost, not almost, you can see it from the talent itself, right, on screen and just commentators and everybody. It's like you can just see the more relaxed approach, I think.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah,
Now, we are famously not two guys that can keep things concise. We like to prattle on about wrestling, but it's because we're passionate about it, right? And
that's true.
we like to dissect things and get into it. But we'll try to keep this relatively short because the show itself was action packed, but it wasn't a ton of matches, so we don't have a ton to go through. We'll worry
Yeah.
about that on our all out review, where there's about 28 matches to review on that one, and that was just in the pre-show. but, uh, but no,
Oh
this
god.
one we'll go through match by match. We'll talk about what we thought about it and give her opinions and no star ratings or anything like that. I know on the Nightmare reviews you like to do the blades up or the mask, but we'll just
Yeah.
kind of sift through it since I'm joining in with you on this one. So shall we get started?
We shall. Let's jump right into her.
All right, so our first match, as predicted, we thought this might be the kickoff for the show. Was the ladies trios match, as we now must call these matches, right? It was the now known as Damage Control of
Yep.
Bailey and Io and Dakota against the ragtag team of Asuka and Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. So, what'd you think of this match?
Yeah, I thought it was a good opener. They had a decent amount of time, I think almost 20 minutes. There was some good back and forth. You got kind of good flow, and I was a little bit surprised with the ending, to be honest. But how better way to elevate Bailey than getting a pin over the champion, Le Champion,
Yes,
right? So
yes, yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a great way to kick off the match, or kick off the night. Sorry, and all of these women can go, in my opinion. So I was pleasantly surprised, and there was some. Not, I actually, there wasn't even shenanigans. It was good, kind of good clean finish at the end too.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I love that they set up future stuff with the
Yeah.
pin by Bailey on Bianca. It was the right call in my opinion, and I think it's going to lead to a much better match. Now, where do you think this will happen at this match between Bianca and Bailey? Is this a Survivor Series thing, or what do you think they're leading to, or is it going to be sooner than that?
I think it's going to be a slow build. Just the way they're
Mhm.
presenting them on TV and sort of the way things are shaping up, and but there isn't. I don't see it being a Survivor Series thing. It may be a Rumble thing, but I maybe they pull the trigger on it sooner than that. I think you need to build this a little bit more, to be honest, if you're going to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and we see that Triple H maybe he might lean towards a little bit more long term booking with
Yeah.
this stuff. So
Yeah, because there's just so much you can still work in, all of the tag team stuff with Sky and Kai, and
mhm,
there's rumors or innuendo that they're gonna add people to the group too. So like
mhm.
that could be cool. One interesting note: did you catch that briefly the I caught this the Titantron slash video board at Clash of the Castle had a different. It was actually spelled control, like CONTOROL, that's
Mhm.
popped up. That was their video, and now they've gone to the damaged CTRL, right? Which is they had a completely different package on Raw versus what was on Clash. So they must have just like thrown that up there. It almost seems like on
Good
Sunday or Saturday.
yeah, good catch by you. I missed that actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
completely different. If you go back and watch, it's like a yellow screen with like just damage control spelled out on it, but it's
okay.
completely different than what they had in Raw. I caught that right away.
Right on, okay, good call. Yeah, I think that well, to me it was your standard opening match with lots of action, but it wasn't bananas with a
Yeah,
spot fest or anything like that. It was just a good hard hitting match. There was some psychology to it. You got the nice ending with Bailey getting the win over Bianca. Usually they like to start with faces over strong. So seeing the heels get the win, that was an interesting way to go with the evening. But yeah, overall I give that one a positive as far as
yeah, I would
how
agree.
it was to kick off.
I would
Yeah.
agree. Especially as a kickoff match. I know it wasn't the
Yeah,
official kick pre-show match, but it was a good way to get the crowd up. And that man, we'll get into it, but that crowd was hyped from the get go.
they were. They were
It was
indeed.
great.
So this led to our next match, which boy oh boy, we were pretty excited about. And
Yeah,
I think I mentioned in my week that was in wrestling that the over under on the skin that would be left in the ring was 50, and I think they eclipsed that when you see the shots
oh,
of Sheamus's chest
hamburger
after this
hamburger
match.
chest. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man, but this was I don't know about you, but this might have been my favorite match of the night. It was just an absolute slugfest. It was a brawl. It was what we expected. And you know what? It was a little bit different to see Sheamus being beaten up a bit in a match. He's usually one
yeah.
that's doing that to the opponent, but he took he took a pretty good
He,
he took
a
a pretty good amount
walloping.
of yeah, walloping here
Yeah.
because he wasn't a true face in this.
I was just
He
gonna
was
say that might have had a lot to do with the fact that it was kind of playing face based on the hometown thing. But yeah, I agree. It was really cool to see, and just the face off at the beginning where they were kind of standing
yeah.
there and they did that. Well, first of all, back the truck up a little bit. I was stoked to see what's I forget his new name. What's Giovanni or whatever the
Oh,
new
yes.
name?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so
Vinci,
we got
Giovanni
yeah,
Vinci,
Vinci. We got Imperium back, which is phenomenal in my
which
opinion.
makes
So
perfect sense. Yeah,
yes. So, and then they did the thing that they did in SmackDown a few weeks ago where they kinda they just stood there and everybody else fought. I thought that was cool to kick
yeah.
that off. So, yeah, it was so back to your point about your favorite match. This would be 1A, 1B with Riddle and Rollins. I thought Riddle and
Sure.
Rollins
Yeah.
was great too, but yeah,
Mhm.
these guys just beat the piss out of each other, which was fantastic. Like, so much so that you were, like, gasping sometimes, like, with
It
some of
was
those chops.
uncomfortable at
Yeah, it
moments.
was. It was. And, like,
Yeah.
right away, their chests are, like, almost bleeding, which is immensely cool considering it's just chops. But yeah, I thought this match was everything, every little bit we wanted it to be. They gave it the time it needed, which I think we even said like it needs at least 15 plus minutes, and they gave it that. Um, and I was all in on I was for it. Like I didn't care who would win anyway, and I thought keeping Gunther strong was great. I will echo that. I just wish he would they would that power bomb is so weak to me. I just don't like that. But then he ended up winning with the clothesline anyway, so it was kind of cool. But a lot of good spots. It was great match, great match. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, it was old school, just 2 big, strong brutes going in there and beating the hell out of each other, and,
But it wasn't
I lo
boring though either though. You know what I mean?
No,
Like it was yeah, it
no.
was
Not at all, not at all, and I was, man, I am so happy that Sheamus got that little bit of respect at the end with the standing
yeah.
ovation, which was well
Yep.
deserved, but I hope it really made people realize, Jesus, this guy's had a really good career with them, and he's been
And
a faithful soldier for them as well.
and has many good years left, obviously, still.
Yeah,
I think anyway.
yeah,
I
for
don't maybe he
sure.
doesn't, but yeah, that was solid. So again, another positive match, I would say, right? I mean, that was
Yeah,
two great matches to kick it off the show.
yeah, so,
I'm interested to
2
hear
yeah.
your next one though.
Two fantastic matches to start off the show because you got the show started hot. So you had to cool it down a little bit, and
Yeah.
we found the right match to do that for sure. We had the women's title match with Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler, and I gotta say, pretty disappointed in the result in this, but I was not surprised at all. We talked about this in our
Yeah.
preview. We knew it was going to be like this. We knew they were probably going to just go and live on this one. You know, we hoped that they might pull the trigger and just say, you know what, we made a mistake and let's just try to recoup things on it. But unfortunately, not. So we got what we got, I guess, is what you would
Yeah.
say about that. So
And again, I
what's
like
your thought?
well, like you said, we're not shocked. I mean, I didn't hate the match, to be honest. I thought they actually worked pretty well together. I thought Shayna looks good now in this new sort of new light, I guess if you want to say, because we know Triple H is going to present her a lot different than she was presented previously. Um, and I thought they did work well together. I thought Liv's psychology in the match was pretty good. You have to admit, she did sort of try and kind of work the psychology in that match as much as she could. I mean, I know she's still sort of weirdly saying this as the SmackDown champion. She's still sort of learning, but I thought she was passable in the match as well. And I don't hate Liv, I don't love Liv, but I thought it was an enjoyable match. I take it or leave it, and it was quick-ish. It was still over 10 minutes, I guess, but yeah, I thought the way they finished it was sufficient, I guess, if you say that, because I mean, Shane had been working the body part all match, all that stuff, and then Liv kind of pulls out the Oblivion at the end, and so yeah, I mean it. I'm fine with it. I guess that's my end result. I don't. I thought Shayna was going to be a placeholder anyway. Let's be honest. She was just in there to kind of fill some time, and like it or not, I think Liv is around for a bit. So like, it's clear that Triple H isn't going to deviate from that plan by the sounds of it, or by the looks of it.
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah, it seems like they're all in on Live for the time being, but,
Yeah.
we've still got a lot of people left to come back here, Charlotte and Becky and
Oh
Bianca and
yeah,
all these people, or I'm sorry, not Bianca, Becky
Becky.
and then Sasha and Naomi, right? So,
Yep.
I mean,
Who were added back to the roster page, by the way. I don't know if you caught that.
were they? No, I didn't
Yeah.
catch that, no,
I
no.
don't know. They haven't announced anything, or I don't know. I haven't read any dirt sheet stuff on it, but they were quietly added back to the roster
Yeah,
on the website. So anyway, but yeah,
so, yeah.
I didn't anticipate. I would. My expectations were low for this match, so it
Mhm.
kind of met them, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So that's all I'm gonna say about that match. I knew I wasn't gonna have too much to say about it or enjoy it too much, and it just it was what it was. I guess
Yep. No, exactly.
For the live fans, they got what they wanted, and it was just nice to see Shayna get some exposure back on a PLE, I guess we'll
Yeah,
call it, so
and
pay per view.
and
But
not be treated like a chump, right? You know what I mean? She
yes, yeah,
wasn't. So,
I
but
just hope it
anyway.
leads to something with Ronda. Maybe we see the reuniting of Ronda and Shayna, maybe a four horsewoman type of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the only way you can, because I'm still convinced you cannot present Ronda in this babyface situation, because if it's only gonna, well, it's to the detriment of Liv. So I mean, how are you gonna do
Right.
it? I don't know how they're gonna do it otherwise.
Right. Yeah, for sure. All right.
Maybe we're still to see that coming.
Maybe so. Okay. So let's move on to the next match. We had the tag team match that was announced after, very close to the pay per view itself because we didn't even get a chance to talk about this on our preview show. But we had Edge and Rey Mysterio versus Finn and Damian Priest. And really, do we need to talk much about the match? It's all about the ending, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a I thought it was a passable match. I enjoyed it. I'm really loving Rhea right now. Like, she is
Yes.
just so enjoyable, so entertaining, and like the stuff where she just bows up to all the men on the roster now and stuff too. And by
And
the
it's
way,
believable. It's
it is
believable
believable.
too.
And by the
Mhm.
way, I don't recall the last we talked about this when we were watching it, when I was watching it. Like, when's the last time we had any intergender sort of physical alterations on WWE TV?
Mhm.
Rhea was did Rhea take the suicide dive, for whatever you want to call it, move? Like, it was Ray, right? Ray went from the inside to the outside and hit Rhea on the outside, right? So when have we had that in the
He hit Dominic into Rhea is what it was,
Yeah,
wasn't
okay,
it?
fair
Yeah,
enough, fair
yeah.
enough.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
still sort of anyway, I thought that was kind of maybe a telling, like, my whole thing with that is I don't want to see girls beating up guys, but I don't think you
No,
need to completely protect these women. Are wrestlers, they're combat sports people, right? That, like, they shouldn't be treated with kid gloves either, right? I mean, they can be in physical alterations. Obviously, it's not believable that you don't want a man beating on a woman, obviously, but there is time and place for that sort of stuff where we would not have gotten that before. I don't think we wouldn't have got Rhea anywhere near the men in that scenario. So yeah, I thought it was really enjoyable in that sense. Rhea's been fantastic. Um, and yeah, Edge was kind of hyped and cool. That was cool too, and he was kind of into it. And at first, I was like, "No, please don't wear the mask the whole match." Like I was like, "No, don't do that." But that was kind of cool to honor Ray and come down there. But yeah, I mean, obviously the match was insignificant. But here's what I'm gonna say about it, and we'll get to the Dominic stuff. But like, why have the end of the match result you had if that was gonna happen? Like, don't you think that was a wasted win for Ray and Edge? Like, why not give it
Yeah.
to Judgment Day?
Yeah. Judgment Day desperately needs wins.
Right,
Desperately
and
needs it. Yeah.
especially if that was gonna be the end result, so you knew you were gonna get there, and more especially since Dom helped Edge and Ray win. Like,
Yep.
anyway, I was confused by that. That was the only thing. Now, I thought the actual turn by Dom at the end was cool. I thought that was actually well done. I thought he did a really good job, to be honest. You knew it was happening. You could just feel
Mhm.
it. But then the clothesline to Ray, I thought that it was all really good. I thought that actual end part of the match was pretty great. But I was just like irked by the result because I was like, that's stupid. Like, because you could have just gave Judgment Day the win and accomplished the same result, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think they made a mistake by not having Judgment Day go over because they are in desperate need of wins. It would have made more sense to have Dom uh, cause the reason for Edge and Ray not to get the win because then you have an out for those guys
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, that's all I can say. The match itself was pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, it
you
was
got four great
bunch of guys
workers
in there
there.
that can
Yeah,
go. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So yeah, you
and
knew it was gonna be a decent match.
and Rhea's work on the outside of the ring right now is
Oh,
fantastic. She's just always a presence, and that's
yep.
you always talk about some managers that back in the day that were presence around the ring without overshadowing the whole match, and she's been doing that as well. And
But like you
I've
said,
been
it's
really impressed.
believable. It's
Yes, yes,
believable.
it is.
And what I also kind of dig, I maybe this isn't what they're going for, but I get the sense that she's the leader of that group, which is
It
cool.
feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is cool.
Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, it's I'm actually quite digging Judgment Day right now, especially after Raw and like it's yeah, I'm for it. I'm for it.
Yeah, for sure. No, so overall, change the ending. Other than that,
Yes.
decent stuff, and of course, and then the Uber ending was obviously
Right.
made up for everything because this is what everybody's been longing for is this turn
By
by
Dom.
Dom. Yeah, so
Yeah.
good stuff. All right, now to what you call the match tonight, and I agree. You could make this between this and the Sheamus match, whichever, but we had it. Riddle
Yeah.
versus Rollins, just an absolute great performance. I mean, you could tell that Rollins right now is motivated in my eyes. He's motivated to put on the best match of the night without stealing the show, though. I don't, you always hear that. Like I'll use a comparison. I mean, Kenny Omega at the end of the trios match on All Out went to the camera and told the room to try
Follow
to
that or
top that,
something.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't get the feeling that Seth is trying to steal the show. What he's trying to do is just put on the best match tonight that's going to make sure the guy involved with it is going to get over as well. And that's what he did with Riddle in this match.
Yeah, no, I would agree, and I would take it a little further because I did check out Ariel Hawani's sit down with Seth, and I think I watched it after the PLE, but it shed some light in that some of this buildup was legit. Like these two guys do not like each other. It's clear. It's seemingly this seemed like Colby. What's his last name? Lopez, I think.
Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, this
Mhm.
seemed like Colby Lopez talking to most of this interview, not Seth Rollins. And he said like they're professional, they will work, they get along in the ring, their chemistry is fantastic. But it was clear that there's still some legitimate they don't really like each other kind of stuff, which is I think some of the best stuff we've seen in history is from guys like that, like Brett and Sean and all that stuff, right?
Sure.
Um, but so I think there was a little bit of that in there. And the build to this match was so great. The intensity, that promo, the last promo in the Go Home Raw was chef's kiss on that. Like that was so good, which apparently you would probably know this, but I didn't realize this, but they stole that from like years ago in an MMA fight. There was Daniel Cormier or something, and they did like that split screen sort of. Anyway, apparently in the interview with Hawani, Seth mentioned that too. So anyway, all great. I thought just there were so many cool spots in this match. It had a ton of time to kind of breathe. Not a ton ton of time, but it had a lot of time to breathe. Two super athletic guys. The intensity was there. Riddle was legit, like he did a lot of legit stuff in that match. You could just see the sort of the seriousness in him, and Seth's so freaking entertaining. And like the Elton John thing, like at the beginning, like hey, like come on, like Seth is so good, just as an entertainer.
I
But
thought
yeah,
I actually thought he was doing a tribute to Curry Man.
I don't know if anybody will get that, but
Oh,
yeah,
come
look it
on.
up. Look it
Christopher
up.
Daniels,
Yeah, look up Curry
Impact.
Man. It's great. I think he did New Japan run with it too. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's much bad you can say. Like the finish was phenomenal. Like the stiffness of the match, the intensity of the match, the psychology of the match. Did you see Riddle's lump on his head after the match?
No, I
Like the
didn't see
guy
that.
took those stomps. I don't think there was any question. He took those stomps straight into the mat. Like it was just yeah, it was just really, really good, and I just thought it was, physical and entertaining, and pacing was great, and the story was great in it to begin with.
Mhm.
So that's why I thought it was the match of the night, 'cause it totally culminated in the build up, and it didn't let down, I guess. Didn't,
Yeah.
it definitely stood up to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't add anything more on it. It was a fantastic match. Seth Rollins right now, I've said this over and over again, and I truly do believe it. He doesn't even need a title now. I know they're going to elevate him into the title
Yeah.
picture with Roman and stuff like that. Maybe as a Royal Rumble match just to hold over until WrestleMania, so he has a good opponent for that. But to me, Seth Rollins literally is a title belt at the moment. You
Yeah.
go in there with Seth and you have a great match with him, that's the same as winning a title at this time. I mean, it's like he's defending that every night when he comes on to the show.
No, you're spot on, and again, I would urge people to go check out the interview with Huani. But in that he mentioned the legitimate sort of anger he had at being pulled from SummerSlam, and he explained what happened. And there was weirdly, apparently, there was a lot of it had to do with the Mysterios have some sort of contract sponsorship branding thing, so they couldn't cut their match. And so they, with all the new changes and the hecticness of it, they needed to cut some matches, and they ended up cutting that match. But apparently, he blew up on Triple H. There was like a whole thing, and they better cooler heads prevailed, but he was not happy. And so I just think he is a guy with not a chip on his shoulder in a bad way, in that he legitimately believes and probably is the best professional wrestler in the world right now. And I think
Yeah.
he goes into every single show, match, segment like that, right? And I know we're gonna get a lot of like AEW stands being like, "No, it's Kenny Omega," but I disagree. I think it is Rollins right now. He's you cannot say he's not the best, and I'd say professional wrestler in the sports entertainment sort of realm as well, in that he can do everything. He can go in the ring, speak
Uh,
on the mic. He's got timing galore. He's got the look. He's got the charisma. Anyway, he's it. So I think he is the number one guy in the business right now to me.
would you
Ah,
say that
I say that, and Roman's so goddamn believable too, though. I don't know. He's 1A and 1B, I think.
yeah. Would you say an apt comparison for Seth right now would be similar to a Bret Hart in the mid 90s where he was head and tails above everybody as far as working, and add to it that Seth has more game on the microphone than Brett has.
Yeah,
Although I always did enjoy the realism of a Brett promo. It wasn't like the most enthusiastic, but there was a
yeah,
realness about it because Brett believed in what he was saying. But it's almost like whether Brett had the title or not, you knew that he was kind of the standard bearer. He was the guy that if you're going in the ring with him, he's going to make you shine. There's so many matches that he had with people that when he wasn't champion, that he um still people still talk about it to this day.
no, no. I think it's a phenomenal analogy. I think he's to circle back to the Brett thing. I think he's Brett with more charisma, which is
Right.
scary to think about, right? Because Brett
Yeah.
was not lacking in charisma. He wasn't as exciting as maybe he could have been. But like Seth is Brett with charisma, and that's scary to think, right? Because
Whereas
he's that
Brett might
damn good.
might have had him a little bit more on the technical side, but when you put everything together, they're almost
Yeah,
similar. It's like they're the measuring stick and go in the ring with them and just put on a no matter what was on the card, Brett's matches always seem to be the best of the
yeah,
night. So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
No,
cool.
it's a really apt comparison for sure.
Yeah. Again, yeah, fantastic match. So we have many to pick from for the best on a six match card. We could say three legitimately. were the match of the night, which
Yeah.
that's hard to
Well,
say.
yeah, that's a good point.
When I say there's
Good point.
3, I have to go to the next match, which so we have the complete opposite of of Ray and Dom here. We had a phenomenal match with an ending that just was like, what the hell's going on here with this whole Tyson Fury bullshit that went
I
on
did we
there?
ever I was gonna bring that up. I was like, I thought there was I was gonna I didn't get a chance to check it out, but apparently there was a reason for it. I didn't get to watch the video that was supposedly gonna explain the ending, but I don't know what the hell they were trying to do. Legitimately, I think Drew actually thought they were off the air, so that was funny to hear. Like he said, like, "Are we still on the air?" Anyway, so I don't know if we know what if anybody knows what that was, but yeah, like to me, that was sort of shenanigans after the fact, but that the match
Yeah.
itself,
It's like
well,
something that you
give me
see on
your
a
take.
host show. It's like something you would have seen on a
Yeah, true
host show,
enough, true
and it
enough.
it kinda took away like, Drew McIntyre had a fantastic this was a fantastic match. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
I know everybody hates Roman, they think he can't work. This was a fantastic match. The build up to the match itself was amazing to the point where I was dying for Drew to win those titles in this match.
yeah,
There was many moments during this match I thought he was gonna win it. Quite honestly, I'm almost sitting here thinking when I'm watching it and then watching it back that they should have pulled the trigger and they should have put
I
the
agree,
titles on Drew.
I agree.
It would have given some freshness to the title picture. Roman's got that 2-year mark, but we don't need any more. I know it, I know everybody's talking about they're saving him for Cody. I'm still not sure if that's the case. I really am not because
Well, it might
this
not be
is
the case now, but new regime, right? I mean, maybe that was the
yeah,
old
yeah.
regime.
But I mean, this has put a lot of pressure on this Cody title reign to be amazing because you're going to have Roman, who's gone through every single person on the roster twice over. And to me, you need somebody that feels massive. And I'm sorry, I like Cody, but he's not massive to me. Whereas Drew, at this point, the way they built him up, he felt massive in this moment, and
Uh,
that's my only regret on this match. It
yeah.
was a fantastic match. I get it. It's Roman. Of course he's going to go over. He's the best, one of the best in the business right now from an entertainment aspect. But I don't know. I would have loved to see Drew win this match, win the
No,
titles.
I agree, and I'm with you. There was several points. Where it was like, oh shit, this is happening. Like he's getting his moment that he didn't get at Mania and all that stuff. The only thing I will say back to your sort of prognosticating on the Cody stuff, but things have changed, right? Because one, we don't know if that would be the plan with Cody specifically, but two, you got Karrion Cross now thrown in the mix. You've got other elements that now can carry this through, right? And I mean, I would respectfully disagree with Cody's run, limited as it was so far. I do think he was propped up big time, like the just beating Rollins and being in those feuds and the whole like bruise thing in the Hell in the Cell. Like I think he was made a star before he left, but that's we could go back and forth on that for sure. I get it, but to me, they
I'll put it this way, Jay. I'm gonna find it hard to believe that he's gonna be the
the
guy
one
that
who could
finally
beat
beats
Roman.
Roman
Yeah,
clean.
fair
You
enough.
know.
Fair enough.
Now, if it was a Money in the Bank situation, yeah, I could totally see that.
Which
But
was the plan apparently before he got hurt,
Yeah,
right? That was the
yeah,
plan
but for
apparently.
him to just after Roman's decimated Brock Lesnar and a motivated Drew and Seth and whoever else you wanna
Yeah.
put up there, for him to now lose to Cody, it just I don't know, man. I don't know. I
It
hope they're
it
not
it
back
could go
back
many no, I
2000.
hear you. I hear you, but there is again talk that they might split the belts. So if they do that, you're gonna have total different scenarios. And so if they do that, maybe Reigns keeps the one on SmackDown. They split the Raw one off, and now you got Cross involved in that. You got Cody involved in that. You still have Drew and sort of Roman going over there. And if this Rock Roman thing happens at Mania, which they're saying might, and definitely Triple H alluded to it happening because he definitely gave that impression to me while watching that interview he did with Hawani. But um, yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's hard to say, but I think if we circle back to the match,
Yeah,
it's a discredit to both of these performers. How if we just sort of ignore the fact that this was a phenomenal match, like you said, it
it
was over
was.
30 minutes,
Yeah.
over 30 minutes. Even the Sokoa stuff at the end, which I'm super cool with because Sokoa deserves to be sort of in the bloodline now and going forward, and that's going to be great for him. I didn't even hate that because it made Drew look even stronger because he was there. Like he had didn't he kick out of the spear or so? No, he kicked
He did. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like as much as I was really pulling for Drew at the end, and listen, I marked the hell out when the song came on. I was like, "Oh yes, they finally changed his music." I was like, "This is gonna be amazing," and then it led into the sword music and all that stuff, but which is fine. It was cool, kind of cool to see that package. But
Mm.
um, anyway, all that to say, I was extremely happy with this match, regardless of the ending. Um, I think Drew, without winning, he still looked like a huge star, I think, and so that's, I guess, if he's not going to win, that's the end game, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But what's your take on the end stuff? I have no idea what the hell that was.
That just seemed like a complete cluster. If you ask me, like, I
Like,
don't
was
know.
Fury just off script going crazy, or like what was going on there?
It
By the
was it
way,
was
how good was that, the Austin Theory stuff with Fury punching him and stuff? Like that was phenomenal. Like that was so good. Like
although
you
you
just,
could tell
I
that
think he's.
you could tell he was setting it up by where he exactly
Oh,
positioned
I know.
himself.
But like the cell from Theory and like the punch
Oh,
itself looked phenomenal, and like I was like so into that. I was like, that's the coolest shit ever. And is this gonna be Austin Theory's thing where he just never cashes in?
possibly, but I can't wait for when he does because that guy is money,
Oh,
man. He is, but,
yeah.
yeah, I just, I don't know. I really kind of it brought down the whole Drew
Yeah,
heel
you're
for
right.
me
You're right.
with this, and I'm just not a big Tyson Fury guy. I'm a boxing fan, but he just doesn't do it for me, man. I still can't believe he's the heavyweight champion of the world.
I
But
know, I hear you, but he does it for
yeah,
millions of people. Like
I know,
he's
I
pretty
know,
over in the boxing world,
I
and
know.
people seem
It's
to
just
love
so
him.
strange. It's so strange, but like the whole song thing and all that stuff. I mean,
Drew looked
it felt
legitimately confused, so like I
it
don't know
did.
if that was
Yeah,
any of that planned, right? If
it
any of that
felt
was
like
planned.
the
So
to put a comparison for it, since we're doing this on everything, it seems like, but it felt like Lex Luger celebrating after SummerSlam '93, where he got the countout win over Yokozuna and didn't win the title, and they had
oh,
he
with
was
the Lex
hoisted
with the yeah,
Lex
what was that
Express,
called? The Lex Express or whatever?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's getting
Was that on
hoisted
the
on the
carrier?
shoulders.
Was that on the aircraft carrier or whatever?
SummerSlam wasn't the body
Oh,
slam
that was the
challenge.
lead up to it. Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah. But like the Steiners in, they have him up on the shoulders. He's waving the
Oh, yeah.
flag.
For a
They're
count out win,
dropping
and he
banners,
got
and it's a
nothing.
count out win. Yeah, it's
Yeah, we
like
didn't win the title, yeah. It's
so
brutal.
that's kinda what it felt like, them
Yeah, no, you're
celebrating the
not
ring
wrong.
afterwards, but, I get it, it's in Wales, it's a quasi hometown crowd, they wanted to really
Yeah.
celebrate the heroes, and, they basically did a screw job finish, so they had to come out some way, but honestly, like you said, it felt like something that you would see off the air,
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
on the
I
air.
was like, "What are we watching here?" Like, this seems weird, but anyway,
Yeah.
all good.
So
But overall, I think it
yeah.
was a really, 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 really good show. Like, I would say definitely above average, if not great show. Like, if you take the total sum of all the parts, it was a really, really great show, I thought. And I thought it lived up to it, to the lead in.
So it's your thing, how many hockey masks would you give it out of 5?
Oh, it's got to be at least 4 for me, man. I really
Mm.
enjoyed it. It would be at least 4.
I won't argue with that. The nightmare has spoken.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, we'll close up with that because we're running pretty long here. But I will say, if you haven't had a chance to watch Clash of the Castle, I'm going to suggest you go ahead and do that. This was worth the time to watch it.
Yeah.
6 matches, all of them were pretty damn decent. Even the live match, we can give credit
Yeah.
for that.
That was
Um,
so hard for you to say.
for sure, but make sure you go check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the video that they're suggesting here up in the corner because YouTube believes this is another one that you're going to enjoy. And
Yeah.
we'll
Trust
talk to you
trust the
guys
YouTube.
later. That's right.